When you think of Penticton, you probably reminisce about a city between two lakes, in the middle of wine country. Beautiful beaches, water sports, outdoor adventure, with world-class rock climbing and cycling. A true Four Seasons paradise. Plus renowned for being the host community for so many festivals and events. Yet you undoubtedly will also reminisce about its rich hockey history. From the 1955 World Champion Vees, the Okanagan Hockey School being the longest continuously running hockey school in the world, the BC Hockey Hall of Fame, and having one of this country's most storied junior hockey franchises. In this series, we will look at Penticton Vees past, present, and into the future, and go behind the scenes as the current BCHL champions fight to defend their title.
This one's for you, Penticton. The Vees are 2022 Front Page Cup champions.
On the road, and in the locker room, what billet life is like, game day production and broadcast, the BCHL All-Star Game festivities, and of course, the playoffs. This and much, much more. Veesnation, making hockey history. Today, we examine family ties.
So yeah, when you talk about, you know, the brother combinations that we've had here, it's interesting because in the recruiting process, we always kind of talk about how it's a family atmosphere created, you know, throughout our whole organization. We always talk about how we're brothers, and as you mentioned, we've had a lot of actual brothers play on the team, and you know, you look at the Nadeaus this year is the big buzz. You know, we've obviously had the Niedermeyers, the Richters, you've had the Riley brothers. We've had different brother combinations that have come, you know, maybe not at the same time, the Cylinders, Mountains, you kind of go through it, and you know, it's always special when a parent sends the next one after they've already had, you know, maybe a sibling play here before, and you know, it's, again, I think it's a unique situation that we've had with our program, and another neat story.
That's fun. I mean, being able to play with them at the high level like Junior A, it's really fun, and you know, being able to play on the same line, not just on the same thing, it makes it so much like better. Like it's a lot more fun than just playing on the same team. You know, doing that with them and being part of this like win streak and all those things we do together, it's just unbelievable.
Playing with my brother is something I was looking forward for a long time, because growing up we were 2 years difference. So we didn't get to play a lot together, and just playing together Junior A at this high level, I think it's something pretty fun. And playing on the same line just makes it easy on the ice. We know each other well, and it's kind of weird that we can communicate without talking, just by our minds. And yeah, it's almost like we know where we are at all time. We grew up 2 years apart, so we didn't get a chance to play together a lot, but it's so fun to play with him because like I said, we think a lot like each other, and it's so much easier on the ice.
Well, yeah, I mean, at home it's worse. I think sometimes there's things that happens, you know, we're competitive, everything we do, like, it's just sometimes it turns out like we fight sometimes, but I mean, when it comes to the rink, it's always about like hockey, so we don't try to do those things. We try to keep it at home and just at the rink, like we kind of keep the love relationship at the rink. Yeah, I think like we're both proud of each other's success. That's not like that's something that like just being like teammates and family as well. When you see like your brother having success, it's something like you really look forward to. And when you know he's got the same thing, like he thinks that the same when you have success. I think that's why like we have the same. We look forward to our success. Yeah, work ethic. I think just everything I do, I'm trying to do it at 100%. I think that's how you get better in everything you do. If you don't work hard, you won't get the results that you want. And you know, like when you make sure you work and the work ethic you have is really straight. It's related straight to your result at the end. That's a tough question. I think the one that will end up with the most point might be my brother, but this year I think I'll end up with more goals than him.
Yeah, I know I'm asked all the time, like how you get, you know, why, you know, is it by design that we have so many ex-NHL or even college coaches' sons that have come and played here? And it's not by design. And, you know, really, we go out and try to find the best players possible for us at a given year. But as we all know, the old cliche, you know, the hockey world's, you know, the world's small and the hockey world's smaller. And, you know, when you have a few of them that come through and have a great, you know, a great kind of feel for, you know, their career here and, you know, great experience, I guess. And then that word of mouth kind of travels. And, you know, then you start getting different calls from different people. And for me, you know, a lot of times they're the easy ones to deal with because, you know, the NHL players have have already been through it. They've done their thing and they kind of let their kids kind of have their own experience. And so, you know, I've been fortunate to have a lot of supportive, I guess, hockey people, you know, entrust our organization and our coaching staff with their sons' development. And it's been another kind of neat aspect of our program.
Yeah, so I grew up, my brother and I grew up in Cranbrook, British Columbia. We're a year and a half apart. So we did everything together ultimately, you know, whether it was hockey, in the summer we were out riding bikes, fishing, that type of thing, but it was fun. I mean, every second year we got to play on the same team. Our parents, you know, were there. They obviously enjoyed that, being able to come to tournaments, and we were both there so they could watch both their sons play. It was great, and you know, we did go our own ways once we got a little bit older, but the memories that we had playing together are very special, absolutely. We have been fortunate where our two of our sons who played here for the V's, one still is, had a chance to play together for a year, and it was kind of neat to see. It did, you're right, it brought back some memories of what it was like when I played with my brother, and you know, the memories I still have to this day. So to see them out there playing together was special for, you know, their mom and I, and we enjoyed it for sure. Probably more than they did, actually. You know each other very well, so when you're on the ice, you can maybe know what the other guy's going to think a little bit. So there probably is an advantage, you know, playing with your sibling for sure. That's a good question. You know, I think a bit about that, about what it's like for my boys after I played professional hockey for a while and they kind of grew up with it. Looking at their dad, you know, as we all do look at our dads, in some ways we admire them, and you know, they're our heroes, and in other ways they're just our dads. So if he can go out and play pro hockey, it must maybe be pretty easy to do. I'm not sure. So I think they enjoyed it. They were around the rink a little bit, the dressing room. They knew some of the guys on the team and enjoyed that growing up. And you know, for me to see them out there having fun, enjoying it, trying to have success with their team, is really the ultimate reward. Those are the best memories that I have from hockey, is those moments and those things when you're playing well, you're having fun with your teammates, you're traveling on the bus, you're in a hotel or whatever it is, enjoying each other. So I see them doing those same things, and that feels good to see.
So, John DePork, I'm from Penticton, born in Summerland, just a little ways down the road here, but grew up in the Okanagan, played my minor hockey here in Penticton, and then was fortunate enough to make junior hockey here, play for the Penticton Knights. So, we talk about, a team, and when you do win, something that our Penticton Knights have that was written in our locker room on our, before our final game was, win today and you'll walk together forever. And, that winning team, you think about, obviously to build a successful team, you got to have an amazing group of coaches, and Rick Kozubak was just an unbelievable person, an amazing coach, and he, like I mentioned earlier, was like a dad to all of us, and to this day we all get together. We just had a reunion for our 85-86 team. All the players that could make it are here, the families, we all stay in touch, and even with our 84-85 team, we're planning another reunion coming up here this coming year. So, it's a family, we're all a tight friendship. I was the youngest guy in the team for both my years there at 16 years old when I first started playing, and I had a bunch of big brothers there, and it's so great as we move along over time here, we're still always in touch and trying to help, the young kids that are coming along in our families here, and try and help them experience and, maybe have a chance at doing what we were able to do. Having Cody grow up here in the Okanagan like I did, and move along in the game of hockey and work hard at it and see his commitment, and that I was very proud of him as a dad, and then the icing on the cake was when he was fortunate enough to be able to play in the Okanagan here for the Penticton Vees and for Fred and that, and it was just such an amazing experience, and obviously very, very proud, but I think very excited for the success he's had, but most important thing I think proud of my son is his work ethic. He's humble. He's always going to go to the end of the earth for one another, for his teammates, just like we all did growing up. And I think playing in the NHL is not something that too many people get to do, but to get your education paid for, and get a degree and have that work ethic and that community team-like experience that each hockey guy seems to have, that comes out of a long career is pretty exciting, and very, very proud of the young man that my son's turned out to be, and just glad that he's was happy to experience it.
Because we'd won before, it was just, that's what we were supposed to do, and we had real good team chemistry. We were really tight as a group, and we played for each other. It wasn't one individual, we played for the group, and I think that's why we were really successful. Yeah, it was, I'd go in and watch those games, and they set a record for the least amount of losses by a junior team ever in this country, and they have high-profile players that went on to the National Hockey League. The building was packed, and so nice to sit there as a dad, and had to control Lorna every once in a while. Yeah, there was a lot of that, but let's be clear, that team was a lot better than we were. They were special. I forget, only lost 5 games all year, so they had special talent, but it certainly brought back a lot of memories, and a lot of the players that I played with there were working in the rink, serving beer or eating popcorn, so it was neat to have those discussions as well.
Yeah, I think it's helped. I always wonder about that, if there's pressure from outside sources because of maybe the fact that I played a long time in hockey, but I don't think my son feels that. He's cut his own path. He certainly listens to any advice that I have for him, and I think he applies that. I always see that in him. But he's made the decision to go to Sioux City. He's made the decision to follow his career path here to Penticton, And after last season, when they won the championship, he committed to Canisius College in Buffalo. So he's been cutting his path all along, and we couldn't be more proud of him.
Having siblings both play in the BC, the overlap was an odd year because it was the COVID lockout year and the bubbles, and so they were both here playing in Penticton, and it was fantastic. Our youngest son, I think, really welcomed the support of his older brother. We're in a good position because the older brother is a very supportive guy, so I think he could help navigate some of the loneliness that comes from being away for the first time and just navigating how to be a professional, how to approach this, and how to play with consistency on and off the ice, how to approach, just maturing. And I also think they have a bond that they have always had through hockey, but now playing on that same team. And that's the first time. They trained together and all this kind of stuff, but they're both wearing that same jersey. I think it's a beautiful thing, and they're very complimentary of each other. So I just think that for the rest of their lives, they'll have something that is an amazing experience. I was not able to play in the BCHL as a kid, and I look at this and say, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And so I can, show them the door and say, this is your challenge. And when they go out to the BC, I think there couldn't be a better place for them to play. So every experience is different, but they have really flourished and loved on and off the ice their time here.
Yeah, I did. I didn't play any games with him. I was just practicing that year, but he got traded from Cowichan 2 years ago at Christmas time, so around this time. So it was awesome to see him, and pretty fun to be on the same team as him, and definitely brought us closer together. It definitely has a big positive influence. He's helped me a lot, especially with kind of mental battles going throughout the season and stuff like that. He helps me overcome slumps and stuff like that, and just like change my mindset to a more positive way. And I mean, it's awesome. He's to me, he's just a regular dad, but it's pretty cool.
Well, having had the experience and the fortune of playing pro hockey myself, it can affect your child's trajectory, both positive and negative. There's expectations that come with that. There's assumptions that come with that. Sometimes from him, but from people around him. And I think it's crucial that the kids forge their own path. His life is not my life. His skills are not my skills. His struggle is a different struggle than I had. And you're always are challenged to play this game at the highest level. And getting to this level, I marvel at how disciplined, professional, and hard it is at the BC level. And these guys have to go through it. I can't play for them. I can give them advice, and I can talk to them about my experience and what I know and what I learned, and they can filter that, and hopefully it helps them. At the same time, I think I know it's really important for them to understand that what they've done is because of how they've approached it, what their skill level is, and how hard they work. And it's one more reason we want them to come to a program like Penticton that has that structure and has that demand of them. I cannot sit back in my chair and say, this is how the world works. He has to figure it out, and they are, and it's demanded of them by everybody in the organization. So I think I can be a bit of a sounding board for them, but no question about it, having their own path and literally going out of our house to continue that path, I think is a very valuable thing.
I guess that's a good question. I hope my kids from playing junior hockey, playing here in Penticton, learn obviously things about hockey, about how to have success and how to be a good teammate and those type of things, but also those can translate over into life as well, and how to work with people, how to be dependable, responsible, person, all those type of things. And I think hockey is good for that. Truly is a team sport that you need to rely on your teammates to try and have success, and you depend on them. And I think that's a very useful lesson to learn as you get older and head off into the world of adults.
One of the things that makes both of us most proud, I think, is just hearing how our boys relate to other kids in the locker room. I mean, a big portion of playing team sports is that support that you better be bringing to the rink every day, and the understanding of your place in that, as a puzzle piece, trying to have success. You're not better than the team, you're not bigger than the team, but you have to add something every day. And Fred really demands that here, and their coaching staff does. And that's a really important life lesson. That's something they're gonna carry with them forever, and it's one of the reasons that we love them playing these team sports. But I think the biggest thing is just how much joy they get out of it. And that, it makes me proud that they've taken a very hard step. This is not an easy life. It's you know, it's not easy to have excellence every day, and these guys are demanded of that. And I think that carries over to the classroom and their personal life. So I think hearing who they are through some of their friends and the billet families and people outside of your own exact experience, I think is really kind of gratifying.